All right, let's jump right into this. We all deal with contracts, right? From the terms and conditions on an app to, a major life decision. But what happens when you sign something you didn't really want to sign? That's what we're going to break down today. The absolute core of what makes a contract count.
Just think about it for a second. Have you ever had that moment of hesitation? That little knot in your stomach where something just feels off? We've all been there. So the big question is, what does the law actually say about that pressure? Does your signature just lock you in no matter what?
Well, to figure that out, we've got to get to the very heart of why these laws exist in the first place. And really, it all boils down to one central, very important question.
And here it is. Why on earth does the law care so much about these fancy-sounding terms like duress, which is really just a legal way of saying you were threatened, and undue influence? Trust me, it's not just to make things more complicated. There's a very specific and I'd say very human reason. So let's dig in.
So our source material lays out 4 possibilities. Let's think of ourselves as detectives here. Are these rules around just to make things more complex, to drive up the cost? Are they just a tool for negotiation, or is there something much, much deeper going on?
Okay, so a great way to start is by knocking a few of these possibilities off the list. Because honestly, sometimes understanding why an answer is wrong is just as helpful as knowing why it's right. It really helps us zero in on the truth.
Let's just break this down real quick. So first up, complexity and cost. Yeah, sure, legal fights can get messy and expensive, but those are side effects, they're consequences. They're not the reason for the rule in the first place. And then you've got negotiation. Look, negotiation is all about a fair playing field, but the moment someone is being threatened or manipulated, that playing field is completely gone. So no, that one's out too.
So if it's not about making things complicated or expensive, and it's not about negotiation, what is it about? This, my friends, brings us right to the heart of the matter. The foundational idea that holds up every single valid contract out there.
And here is our answer. I'm going to say it again because this is everything. Without freely given consent, there is no true agreement. You see, a contract isn't just ink on paper. It's what they call a meeting of the minds. And without your genuine, voluntary consent, well, that meeting simply never happened.
And this is so vital. This isn't some dusty, old legal technicality. It's about integrity. It's the entire system's way of making sure an agreement is actually real. So, let's look at the 2 classic ways that this idea of consent can get completely undermined.
First up, you've got duress. This is the one we all think of, right? The whole gun-to-your-head scenario. If someone forces you to sign something by using an improper threat, and that could be physical or even financial, your consent wasn't freely given. The whole deal is tainted right from the start. Now, proving it in the real world can be a whole other battle, but the principle is crystal clear.
And now for the other side of that coin, undue influence. This one is way more subtle. It's not an obvious threat, it's more of a quiet manipulation. Just imagine a trusted advisor or maybe a family member using their powerful position to push someone into a deal that just isn't good for them. In that case, the consent wasn't free because it came from that manipulation, not from a genuine choice. It's a straight-up violation of trust.
Now, you might have noticed that really important word in our main quote, voidable. This word is a huge deal. It doesn't mean the contract is just automatically shredded and worthless. No, it actually means something way more interesting. Being voidable means the power goes right back to the person who was wronged. They get to choose. They can either say, nope, I reject this, and walk away like it never happened, or they can decide to affirm it and go through with the deal anyway. The choice is completely theirs. So, let's bring this all home. Why does any of this matter to you? Well, because this whole legal principle is basically your shield. It's what ensures agreements are actually voluntary. It protects vulnerable people from being exploited. And, maybe most importantly, it gives you the legal power to stand up and challenge a contract you were forced into. It proves that a signature by itself isn't magic. True consent is absolutely everything. So, we'll just leave you with this final thought. The next time you're looking at any kind of contract, before you even start scanning the fine print, just ask yourself one simple question. Am I saying yes to this freely? Because that question, that is the true heart of the deal.